Well, I'm in my blue mountains to go again. Hi, I'm Ned,
Hey, and I'm Bill.
and we're on the Let's Talk Elvis channel on YouTube right now. And we're two guys that really love music, and we're going to talk through multiple concerts on the Let's Talk Elvis channel, and we also have a Let's Talk Classic Rock channel that we're going to be reviewing some classic rock concerts also. We're not experts, but we are hardcore fans of great music. I'm more of an Elvis person, and Bill's more of a what,
Well,
Bill?
be more of a, I'm more of a Cheap Trick, AC/DC, Ramones, Iggy Pop kind of guy. But I like Elvis a lot, but I don't have the knowledge that Ned has. Uh, I'm basically my knowledge of Elvis is basically what I know of Elvis is off the radio. But I do like him and I do enjoy him. So, but the basis for this is Ned gave me this concert to watch, and so I'm kind of coming in as a novice, and I'm watching this this was me watching it for the first time, and this is pretty much my reaction to it. But Ned has a little bit more knowledge on the concert itself and what went on during it.
Right. So, like I said, we're not experts, so the opinions that we talk about here might not be 100% accurate. They're truthful to what we think.
Yeah,
So, you feel free in the comments to critique us or give us some comments on how we can improve moving forward.
yeah, go easy.
But this is our first concert that we're going to review. So sit back and enjoy, and here we go.
Away we go.
Big Boss Man. Hi, today we're going to be reviewing the August 19th, 1974 Las Vegas Hilton opening night show that Elvis gave. That night there were 2,200 fans, and what these fans did not know that they were in for a treat. This was a special one-time only set list that Elvis presented to the crowd. From the reviews that I've read over the past years, the fans did not appreciate it as much as me and Bill do today.
Yeah.
I think back at that time, the set list was pretty defined, and people were pretty much used to that when going to a Las Vegas concert with Elvis. So this one will starts off completely different. For Elvis's original concerts, he just starts off with CC Rider. This show, he started out with Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man really wasn't a really popular song for Elvis back then. It was originally recorded September 10th and 11th of 1967 at the RCA Studio B in Nashville, Tennessee for the TV soundtrack. Then on June 20th and 27th in Burbank, California, he actually did some overdubs for the TV version of that special. This is where he was walking through with the crowds and the girls and the guys and that big boss man that he's talking to. So, like I said, it wasn't a great popular song. For Elvis, it was number 38 on the singles charts. So it's really interesting on why he started out this concert with a song that really was not popular to the fans and also really wasn't popular on the charts. So, Bill, what was your take of the song Big Boss Man?
Okay. Well, I actually like this a lot as a concert opener. You know, I like the fact that he came out with a straight out rocker. I wasn't familiar with the whole, how he would open up with the theme to 2001 and CC Rider. So coming in green, I wasn't knowing what to expect for an opening song for an Elvis show. I thought it was really good, and I wasn't real familiar with it. I do remember the '68 comeback special, and I do remember the costumes and him breaking the guitar and the guy in the black suit and that. But I thought, as an opening song, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was really good. It came out with a rocker right off the bat.
Right,
Oh, great.
right. Yeah, I after watching it listening to it many times, I still go back to why he started with that song. There have been so many other songs that he could have went with.
Yep.
But for some reason, he must have had confidence in this one, or for some reason, I don't know. But I mean, it was good. I enjoy this version better than the studio version or the overdub TV version.
Yep.
I think he did a pretty good performance of it. I personally think he came out of the box energized.
Yep.
I'm going to show this crowd that I can do something different than the norm. And he came out and gave a great rendition of the song. I'm happy with it. And I believe he must have been happy with it too at that time.
Yep, I agree. I dug it. Absolutely.
Right. The next song Elvis sang was Proud Mary. This song was originally written by John Fogerty and performed by the band Creedence Clearwater Revival in 1969. Elvis started to incorporate this song into the shows in the early 70s. If you compare Elvis's version of the song to the Creedence version of the song, Elvis had a lot more energy, more power to it. I really didn't care for the Creedence Clearwater Revival song version of it. I mean, it's a classic, and I've heard it all through the years. But since I heard the Elvis version many years back, I always migrated back to that version because to me it had the energy that Elvis gave at the shows whenever he sang that song. He always performed this song with, excitement, and I believe that the crowd fed off that excitement. For you, Bill, you're a Creedence fan. What do you think of the song?
Yeah. I'm a pretty big Creedence fan. I think Creedence are probably one of the most underrated American bands out there. John Fogerty was an exceptional songwriter, and the thing that I liked about this version is that Elvis did it entirely different than Creedence. Okay, Creedence had this kind of swampy sound that fit them. Elvis took the song, he kind of tailored it to a little bit more rock and Vegas style. And I thought to follow up Big Boss Man with like a 1-2 punch right off the bat with these two rockers was really good. I thought this was the perfect follow up to Big Boss Man in the beginning. Right. Actually, I thought the first two songs were fantastic.
Right. Yeah, like you said, I mean, Elvis rendition was good and more powerful to it. There was a lot more power to it, and I enjoyed it. So I think he did overall. It was a great second song. Yeah. I think 2 songs in a row, he came out and gave a great performance.
Yeah, and the one thing that's cool too is and this is something that me and Ned both agree on, is that if you're going to do a cover version, just don't do a straight cover version. Don't do it like the other artist is doing. Put a little bit of yourself into it. Because if you appreciate an artist, you don't want to come and just see them do just like a standard cover. You want to see their representation of it. And I thought this was fantastic.
Right. Agreed.
Yep.
Down in the alley.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang in this concert was Down in the Alley. The song was originally recorded on May 25th and 26th of 1967 at the RCA Studio B in Nashville, Tennessee, and was released October 31st in 1965. The song was actually released in a soundtrack album. Back then, if the soundtrack didn't have enough music to fill, they included, as here, 3 bonus songs on this album. Tomorrow is a Long Time, Down in the Alley, and I'll Remember You. Even though I'll Remember You and Down in the Alley are great songs, they basically got lost in this album. This album wasn't a big seller, so people really didn't migrate and listen to Down in the Alley. Why he included that song in this concert is really interesting to me because, like I said, it wasn't a popular song. He must have really enjoyed it or wanted to pull it out of the archives and bring it to the crowd because he must have thought he could do a great interpretation of it. I think the version that he did was really good. What do you think, Bill?
I actually like this song a lot. I went back, I listened to the original version, and the original version is a little bit more R&B infused. This version is actually a little bit more fun. I think it fits the Vegas crowd well. It's kind of got this strip club feel to it. It's very fun. I can picture myself sitting there smoking a Viceroy, drinking a highball, lots of girls walking around popping bubbles and with their pants. This was a fun song, good for the Vegas crowd. So
I agree.
Yep.
Very good song.
Good time, Charlie's got the blues.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang, Good Time, Charlie's Got the Blues. This song was originally written by Danny O'Keefe and released in 1971 and was a #9 song for him in the top 100. Elvis recorded it December 13th and 14th of 1973 at the Stack Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. It was included in the 1974 Good Times record. To me, this song made the concert. It is my overall favorite song on the concert. It's a typical classic country song that you just sit back and listen to. Everything to me was perfect. Elvis's rendition of it was pretty close to Danny O'Keefe's original version. Even though I don't like when people do that, the arrangement was perfect of this song. I don't think you could really change it too much, just the way the words are and the way it was laid out. One of the couple of the classic lines in that song that Elvis actually played with during the show. The lines, "You play too long, you lose your wife," and Elvis comments, "Yeah, I already did that." And "You play too long, you lose your life," and he almost did that. Like I said, this was 74 concert, and this is the time right after he divorced Priscilla. So with him being able to go out there and joke about, you playing around and losing his wife, and it was pretty interesting. So what do you think, Bill, of the song?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. This is probably one of the better songs in the entire concert. And it was kind of interesting. Elvis comes out with 3 straight on rockers, and then he kind of shifts gears and he goes right into a straight country song. And this song is perfect for his. It's got that 70s kind of ballad voice, and it was perfect. And you could tell he really enjoyed doing the song, and he put everything into it. He wasn't just going through the motions on this one. He was really thinking about the performance, and it was excellent. Excellent song.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, after repetitive listenings, this song kind of moved up the ranks for me, and this ended up being my favorite song of the whole show. So,
Yeah,
high point of the show, A+ of the show, definitely.
I agree. This is a sleeper to me. Like it was for you, it worked its way up.
Yeah,
I think it wasn't because the song is so great. I think it's because the performance the performance that he gave of the song was just superior to some of the other songs that he did in the show, and also through his career. I think he really put his heart into the song.
Yep, I agree 100%. 100%.
Well, I never been to Spain.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was "Never Been to Spain." The song was originally recorded by Three Dog Night in 1971 for their Harmony album. Elvis included this song in his 1972 recorded at Madison Square Garden concert. The arrangement is basically the same as Three Dog Night's. Like I said previously, for Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues, I'm glad Elvis kept that arrangement the same. I wish he would have did something a little bit different for this song, because to me it was lacking. It was lacking some of the Elvis feeling to it. It's a great concert song. He sang it a lot, and it was full of energy, but I still wish he would put some type of a spin on it to make it more of his own. Bill?
Okay. Yeah, now it's almost embarrassing. I wasn't familiar with the Three Dog Night version, despite the fact that it was a huge hit. So when I first heard this, I thought it was excellent. I loved it. Then I went back and I listened to the Three Dog Night version. I'm like, wow, they're pretty similar. But to me, it didn't make a difference as much because I wasn't as familiar with the Three Dog Night version. I do like this version of the song, and I think Elvis did a good version of it. So,
right.
Despite it being pretty much note for note like the Three Dog Night version, so still enjoyed it.
Yeah, great performance.
Yep.
But it's midnight.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang is "It's Midnight." Elvis originally recorded it in 1973, December 10th and 11th at the Stack Studios, again in Memphis, Tennessee. On January 10th, he went in for some overdubs at the RCA Studios in Hollywood, California. The song was included in the 1975 Promised Land album, which is a great album, and it reached #9 on the Hot Country Singles chart. To me, it's a great song. I've always loved the song "It's Midnight." I actually remember when it came out on the radio back then. It just, for some reason, that it's weird how sometimes memories just stick in your head, weird things through your life. That song coming on the radio did. And I think it's a great song. talking about a guy that's really lonely and missing somebody, and going back to, where Elvis was at that time of his life, you know, just going through the divorce with Priscilla. And, yes, I'm sure he had a lot of girlfriends before and after that. Maybe deep down he was still lonely and he missed her, and, being out in the crowd, being around his buddies, life is great. But when he's by himself, I remember an article that he said, he goes, even when he's in a crowd, sometimes he's alone. So I always, whenever I hear that, I always think back to this song, because that's the way maybe Elvis was. When he's alone, he's lonely and he needs somebody there.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this interpretation of this song?
I really enjoyed this one. When Ned gave me this concert to watch, I kind of looked through it and I knew about half the songs. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't know. This was one that I didn't know, but this is one that, like Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues, ended up being, one of my favorites on the album. And a lot of the reason that I like this song is because of the passionate performance by Elvis. This is another one, again, that's suited to that 70s ballad voice that he has, and he just like nails it. And I went back and I listened to the original version of it, and vocally, it's just dead on with the other version. Sometimes you hear a live version of a song and somebody will kind of stumble through it, and this is perfect. It's a perfect version. Excellent.
Right. I agree. Great song.
Yep.
And great album, Promised Land.
Yep.
If you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name.
The next song Elvis sang, If You Talk in Your Sleep. This song was actually written by Red West, Elvis's bodyguard and friend from back in the 50s, I believe. I believe Elvis met Red after he came out of the Army and before Red went into the Marines. Elvis actually recorded the song on December 11th, 1973, again at the Stack Studios in Memphis, Tennessee, and overdubs were done on January 2nd and January 10th of 1974. This was also included in the 1975 Promised Land album, and it went to number 6 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary charts. And the B-side to this was a song called Help Me. To me, this song epitomizes the 70s. We have the funky sound, the bass, the guitar, the drums. It has an entire package of a good time song. Yeah. Once they start into the beginning of the song, the crowd gets into it, the band gets into it, Elvis gets into it. I think everybody was just like, wow, let's have some fun with this song. Let's just, break out and do whatever we want to do. It's incredible. One of the great lines of this, for some reason, that always stuck out to me was the line, "Love is always sweeter when it's borrowed." Yeah. Classic line. So, Bill, what did you think of the song, If You Talk in Your Sleep?
Yeah, this was the one that I liked right off the bat. I mean, this is another one that I didn't know. Then I kind of went through here. I went back and I listened to this one a few times. This was a really fun song. I'm not too familiar with Elvis's kind of soul funk stuff that he did, but this was great. And he's got the voice for it, and there's some great funk guitar in here. Great bass playing, excellent rhythm section. Just fun track. Again, probably in my top 5 on this in this concert. So
great. Yeah. And one thing I didn't mention, Red West is also an actor. He was in a bunch of movies. He was in, I think the one that was most popular was in Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze, and his name was Red in the movie.
Yeah.
And he had a hardware store, and they burned it down, and it was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, Bill, go back and watch Roadhouse. It's great.
I'll go back and revisit it.
Okay, great. We'll review that then too, right?
Yeah, we'll put it on the list. It's on the list.
Okay, thanks. Okay, the next song Elvis sang was I'm Leavin'. The song was recorded on May 20th and 21st of 1971 at the RCA Studio B in Nashville, Tennessee. Overdubs were done on May 25th, 1971 at RCA Studio A in Nashville, Tennessee. The interesting thing about this song, it was not released on an album while Elvis was alive. It was only released on a 45. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It went to number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100 on August 21st, 1971. For a song that really didn't get any promotion besides the 45, I think it's a great song. I think it's a huge missed opportunity for Elvis to be able to show his vocals. I mean, because the range of his vocals in this song compared to some of his other songs is incredible.
Yeah.
And you really didn't get to hear that too often. And like I said, I believe it's a missed opportunity for RCA and Elvis to promote these types of songs, and continue to have these in concerts, later on in the years. But I don't believe he actually sang this song too many more times in concert. So what is your interpretation of the song?
I'm leaving. Good solid country song. This particular song for me winds up 8 perfect in a row in this concert. Okay, so like if you're just coming into this concert brand new, and I can guarantee you the first 8 songs in this show are absolutely fantastic. And again, to Elvis's vocal range on this, the passion in his voice is perfect. It's perfect. Again, another song that I had no knowledge of that I ended up just enjoying thoroughly. So,
Great.
Right.
Let me be there in your morning. Let me.
All right.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was "Let Me Be There." This was originally recorded by Olivia Newton-John in 1973 for her "Let Me Be There" album. For her, it reached number 6 and won her a Grammy Award for the Best Country Music Artist. Elvis sang the song over and over in the 70s and also included it in his Moody Blue album. To me, it was a downer. The arrangement is the same arrangement that Olivia had, and Olivia's voices and Elvis's voice are completely different. I don't see why he would sing these types of songs without making it more him, but it was a recognizable song back in the day. So, Bill, what do you take on the song?
Well, I don't have a problem with this song. I can see why he did this song as more of a like a crowd pleaser. I mean, you go to a concert, you want to see an artist, you want to sing along with some of the songs. Everybody knows this song. Elvis just challenged people with some more obscure songs in his in his canon. So now he's going to throw something out there everybody knows, just kind of get everybody on their feet and everything. It really didn't do a whole lot for me, to be quite honest. I mean, it sounds so much like the Olivia Newton-John song. At a certain point, it's like, I don't know, like karaoke. I think if you do something and you're not really adding anything to it. So, for the Vegas crowd, I'm sure there's a lot of people walking in off the street and that weren't hardcore Elvis fans. So for them, something like this, it was a popular song of the day. So I don't have anything against it, by any means. But like in terms of comparing it to the top 8 songs that we heard before this, it's not in that same caliber.
So this would be like number 9.
Well, it was the 9th song, but it's not the 9th. For me, it's down a little bit lower. So.
Okay, great.
Softly.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was "Softly as I Leave You." The song was originally released in 1960 as an Italian song. I believe it was named "Piano Softly," and then it was rewritten in 1961 into English. Elvis would sing the song a lot over the years in concert, and he'd always preempt the song with some dialogue talking about he knew of a person that knew of a person that this happened to. It was about a guy that was dying and his wife was by his bedside 3 days and 3 nights, and he didn't want to die in front of her. So when she started to fall asleep, he felt himself dying and he wrote a note. In doing some research for this concert, there were some interviews with some of his band, and all of them pretty much said that it wasn't true. Elvis pretty much made that whole dialogue up to kind of add more drama to the song, and it worked. I mean, like I said, I'm a hardcore Elvis fan, and I always believed to some point that it was accurate, and it could have been accurate, to the person who actually wrote it, but for Elvis to say that he actually knew the person, on and on. But I really loved this song. The thing to me that made it really great was Elvis wouldn't sing the song. He would pretty much speak the dialogue. Well, Cheryl Nielsen would actually sing it, and Cheryl Nielsen was his backup tenor of his band. And from listening to a lot of concerts over the years, I believe that Elvis really put Cheryl Nielsen up on a pedestal. He loved his voice. And there are a couple of instances in later concerts, and one of the concerts we're actually going to be reviewing down the road, Elvis actually stepped back and had Cheryl Nielsen come up and sing lead of an entire song, while Elvis just stood back and listened. And for Elvis to do that in the middle of his concert, to take a step back and to highlight somebody else from his backup band to sing to the crowd, that had to mean a lot to him, because the crowd wasn't there to see Cheryl Nielsen, they're there to see Elvis. But instances like that, you actually got to see the real Elvis, the way Elvis probably was at home in his music room with everybody singing, and he's just stepping back, being part of the crowd, not the standout person. So what do you think of the song, Bill?
Okay, well, this one here kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, because it's kind of a downer of a song. It's a punch in the heart, but it's also a very, very good song. Okay, it's a song that I wouldn't mind hearing on its own. Okay, is a standalone song. Coming right after an Olivia Newton-John song, it was I don't know, it's almost kind of jarring, because you're up, you're high, everybody's feeling good, everything's bunnies and rainbows, and then all of a sudden you get hit with something that you could probably hear at a funeral. It's like I don't know, I went and looked back and I listened to the original version of it, and I liked it a lot. And this is one song that I can honestly say that I would prefer just to listen to on its own. Its placement in the show kind of threw me off a little bit. So, especially sandwiched in between two Olivia Newton-John songs, so.
Great.
Hey, but more power to Elvis for, kind of stretching out there artistically. I mean, I can understand why he did what he wanted to do, but it just it was just kind of an awkward placement for me in the show.
Right. Yep, I agree. I mean, because to me, always gave me the sense of the song "Are You Lonesome Tonight," where he actually sang and then he spoke a lot of the words. To me, that kind of brought me back to that time of the 50s when there were a lot of songs where there'd be singing and talking, and this was just another version of that. So, like, I agree. I don't know if it was. Pardon me.
Good song.
Yes, I agree.
If you love me, let me know. If you don't.
The next song Elvis sang was "If You Love Me, Let Me Know." Again, this was recorded by Olivia Newton-John in 1973 for her "Let Me Be There" album, and for her, it was #2 on the Billboard country charts. Elvis recorded it April 24th, 1977, and overdubs were done on May 9th, 1977 for inclusion on the Moody Blue album. Again, Elvis' arrangements were the same as Olivia's. I did not get much out of the song. I wish she would have did something differently, but I think my interpretation, at the end of the song, he tried to funky it up a little bit to make it more lively. Maybe he was getting bored at the end also, like I was. And I think he tried to kick it up a step, but it didn't work. It was too late. The song was already gone. But like the previous Olivia song, he sang these songs all the time in his concerts in the 70s. So he must have had a place in his heart for these two songs. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I think this was like the other Olivia Newton-John song, "Let Me Be There," where it was a crowd pleaser. I think he knows it. This is one he can just kind of pull up, and it kind of gets the crowd on their feet, gets everybody happy again. And I think that's, it probably worked, during the show, and more power to Elvis for doing it. But yeah, for me, it wasn't. I have nothing against the Olivia Newton-John version of the song, but again, it's so similar to it,
Right.
That's about it.
Love me tender, love me.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was "Love Me Tender." Elvis originally recorded this on August 25th, 1956 at the 20th Century Fox Stage 1 in Hollywood, California. And of course, it went to #1 on all Billboard's charts.
Deservedly so.
Oh yes, a great basic
Yeah.
song. Um, one thing about this song, for someone that's just listening to an Elvis concert versus watching an Elvis concert, the one thing that you miss when you're just listening to an Elvis concert is you're not aware of what Elvis is doing during this time of the concert. During the concerts, Elvis would take this time to sing Love Me Tender, to grab a glass of water, grab some scarves, and just start handing out the scarves and kissing all the girls. So I think this was his opportunity to take a breather, get a little rest, another like a minute and a half of rest, and just enjoy the crowd. Get them up close to the crowd, kneel down, get a kiss, and get some feedback from the crowd, which I'm sure that's what people want when they're performing, is getting that feedback. And I think this was Elvis's opportunity during the concert, and using "Love Me Tender" as that opportunity to feel the crowd. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I'm glad you told me that little part about Elvis handing out the scarves and that, because this is a song I was really looking forward to, because I love the original version. It's just Elvis and the acoustic guitar and him just singing very soulful and very passionately. And then we get to the song and it's just kind of speeded up. And I didn't understand what was kind of going on, because he's kind of speeding through the lyrics. And at times, there's a couple times near the end, he's just kind of laughing. I wasn't sure what was going on, but then now I realize he was caught up a little bit more in the theatrics of the show itself and not the song itself. So, this would be one, I guess, if there was a video, I would rather watch it on video than just hear the audio portion of it.
Right.
Down in Louisiana, where the alligators.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was "Polk Salad Annie."
What is Polk Salad, Ned?
I will tell you. This song was originally recorded in 1968 by Tony Joe White, about being raised in Louisiana and eating polk salad, a cooked greens dish made from pokeweed. Actually, I was in Louisiana a couple days ago, and I actually talked to a couple of people, and I said, "Hey, what is polk salad and pokeweed?" Not one person knew what that was. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's not a popular thing. Maybe in the 70s it was. I have no idea. But yeah. I talked to two people in New Orleans and had no idea what polk salad was. They looked at me like I was an idiot. But
too bad it couldn't have been like Greek salad Annie or avocado toast Annie or something.
I know, but I still don't know what a polk salad is. Oh well, maybe next time I'll find out. Maybe somebody will put a comment in there and tell me what it is.
Yeah, let us know. Let Ned know. Let me know. Ned will let me know. So.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, for Tony Joe White, the song was number 8 for him on the Billboard charts. Elvis played the song all the time in the 70s. He stayed pretty faithful to the arrangements, but you could feel the energy. You could feel the strobe lights. You could feel Elvis doing his karate moves all over the stage. So even though the arrangement was pretty much the same, you felt the energy that Elvis gave during a concert. And this was like one of the highlights of Elvis's concert, when he would sing Polk Salad Annie type songs, and he would just get all full of energy and dance all over the stage. It was great. I thought that was a great version on this concert, and to me, it's so superior to Tony Joe White's version of Polk Salad Annie.
Yeah. Well, I really like this version. I think this was like a nice big blast of energy after Love Me Tender. And I think it's a good song, and I think this particular song is tailored to Elvis and his style and this style of music. So I thought it was perfect. And I've heard several versions of this, and I've never really heard Elvis do a bad version of this. This was excellent as well. Excellent song.
I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California.
Okay, Promised Land is the next song Elvis sang. It was originally written and recorded by Chuck Berry in 1964. It was recorded by Elvis on December 15th and 16th, 1973, again at Stack Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. The overdubs were recorded on January 2nd and 15th of 1973 at RCA Studio A, Nashville, Tennessee. It reached number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 for Elvis, and it was included in the Promised Land album.
Yep.
I loved this song.
Yeah.
For some reason, whenever I hear it, it brings me back to the movie This Is Elvis, because that had such a great montage of Elvis on tour. You know, all the great shots of him going from on the bus and fans and singing. It was great. So every time I hear it, even though, you know, that this is Elvis came out, what, maybe like 80, 81 or something like that. For some reason, I go back to that moment of time. I love Chuck Berry's version of it. I mean, Elvis's voice is so much deeper than Chuck Berry, but Chuck Berry's got that great guitar.
Yeah.
That really stands out. And Elvis's band did a great job and did justice to Chuck Berry's version with all the musical and vocal arrangements. So I'm really happy with the song, and I'm glad that he included it. I wish he would have included that song more in this time frame, but I think it was just one of those songs that's a new album. Let's sing it. When the new album comes out, let's drop it. Let's do another one. I wish that would have kept in rotation because it's such a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great song. It's a great performance. And the thing that's great, really good about it is you get the two kings of rock and roll here. You get Elvis Presley and you get Chuck Berry kind of all wrapped into one. And you get Elvis Presley's interpretation of a really great Chuck Berry song, and Elvis just kind of making it his own. Yeah, it's this was a highlight of the concert for me too, for this one. This one going right from Polk Salad Annie. It's like this is where it kind of shifted back in gear for me and kind of got back on track. Absolutely.
Yep.
Just my baby left me, never said a word.
Okay. The next song Elvis sang was My Baby Left Me. This was originally written and recorded by Arthur Crudup, November 8th, 1950. Elvis recorded it January 30th, 1956 at the RCA Studios in New York. This was the B-side to the song I Want You, I Need You, I Love You. At the time that this song came out, I believe in August of 56, Elvis had 3 songs in the top 9. It was Don't Be Cruel, Hound Dog, and I Want You, I Need You, I Love You. So that was a huge accomplishment for Elvis, but it also shows you how much RCA pumped Elvis out in 1956. They pumped his records out one after the other to make as much money as possible. But to get back to the song My Baby Left Me, the original version, 56, was great. His voice was excellent. I love Elvis's son voice. For some reason, I never really liked the son voice, but over the years, I'm gravitating back to that direction. And this the original version of My Baby Left Me was incredible. It just brings back that youthful sound that Elvis had. In this concert, Elvis's voice is completely different. It's a lot deeper. I think he tried to sing it and tried to pull it off, but he couldn't do it. I know in other times he tried to sing like Trying to Get to You, and he'd always preface that by saying, you know, I better, you know, adjust my belt. I don't want to, you know, strip no gears while I'm singing the song, because his voice didn't have that level that he used to.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that he tried. You know, I give him props for digging that deep into the archives and pulling out a song like this that, you know, people really didn't know, I'm sure, back in '74. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, this is another one of my favorites. So we'll slightly disagree on this one. I really, really enjoyed this version on here, and I'll agree with you. He doesn't sing it with as much gusto as he did on the original version. His voice is much more relaxed, but you could tell he's really having fun on this version, and that really kind of came through for me. And this was a highlight for me as well. I really enjoyed this song.
Yeah, I agree that he probably enjoyed doing it, because reaching that far back in his arsenal of songs, that had to be exciting to do that, to go back that far. I wish he would have did, you know, some other songs from the Sun version, some era that weren't popular too. But, you know, I'm happy he just did this. We're lucky we have this on tape.
Oh yeah. Oh, I dug it. Oh yeah.
Like a bridge over
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was Bridge Over Troubled Water. This song was released by Simon and Garfunkel in January of 1970. For the band, it was a massive hit. They got 5 awards in 1971 for the Grammys, in the Grammy Awards, including Song of the Year. Elvis actually recorded the song on June 5th, 1970 at RCA Studio B in Nashville, Tennessee, and overdubs were done on June 9th, 22nd, 23rd, 30th, and October 30th in RCA Studio A in Nashville, Tennessee. It was released on the Elvis That's the Way It Is concert album. Elvis sang the song repeatedly until his death in the 70s. One thing that I'd like to mention is Paul Simon actually attended one of Elvis's concerts. And after listening to Elvis sing the song, he said, that's it. We might as all give up. We might as all have to give up now because he did such a great rendition of that song. Personally, Simon Garfunkel's version of it was a little bit too slow and soulful for me. But when I hear Elvis's version, it just blew me away. This version this night was incredible. I think like other songs, he put his heart and soul in them too. But this one, I think he went all out on this song too. This was like probably one of the best renditions I've ever heard of this song on this concert. To me, it was excellent. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I think it says something when you said that Paul Simon kind of gave Elvis props on this, because Paul Simon is notoriously cranky when it comes to people doing cover versions of his songs. And if he doesn't like a cover version of his song, when you do it like he did with the Lemonheads did Mrs. Robinson, he just said it was complete garbage, So if he approved of Elvis's version of this song and kind of gave it allocates, then I think that says a lot. I happen to like the song a lot. I really enjoyed the Simon and Garfunkel version. It's a little bit more of a folky version. And Elvis, Elvis had that period. He did a lot of gospel music. So I mean, that's kind of what I hear a lot of in this song. I hear a lot of his gospel voice in this rendition. And I think that's why he pulls it off. And that's why it's so strong. So yeah, excellent interpretation of the song. Yep.
Never know how much I love you. Never.
The next song Elvis sang was Fever. Fever was written by Otis Blackwell in 1956. And Elvis actually had a history with Otis. Otis actually also wrote All Shook Up, Don't Be Cruel, and Return to Sender. And also wrote some songs for Jerry Lee Lewis, including Great Balls of Fire. Elvis recorded Fever on April 3rd and 4th, 1960 at RCA Studio B, Nashville, Tennessee. And it was included on the album Elvis is Back in 1960. The interesting thing about the Elvis is Back album, it was the first album that was in stereo for Elvis.
It was in living stereo.
Yes, it was living stereo. Yes. The performance that Elvis did in this concert was great. A lot of energy. Even though we're just listening to it, we can actually see Elvis dancing across the stage, interacting with the crowd, just getting the crowd into the show. And you could tell that he really enjoyed doing this song in concert, and it was a crowd pleaser. Comparing this song to the 1960s studio version of Fever, that version is really, really slow, and there's not a lot of energy in it. So even though I enjoy the concert version better, I still appreciate the 1960s version because it's so different. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah. Well, this is a great song. A lot of people have done really good versions of it. I love the Willie Brown version of it. And Elvis does a fantastic version of it. And the thing that's cool about Elvis's version is that he's having a lot of fun with it. I mean, you could tell when he's on stage, he's joking around, and the crowd is getting into it. The band is enjoying it, and it's good moment in the concert.
Great.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Okay, the next song Elvis sang was Hound Dog. This song was originally recorded by Big Mama Thornton in 1952, and it went to #1 for 7 weeks for her. Elvis recorded his version off of the Freddie Martin and the Bellboys version, which their arrangement was a little bit different than Big Mama Thornton's. Elvis recorded his version of Hound Dog on July 2nd, 1956 at the RCA Studios in New York. The B-side of that was Don't Be Cruel. And of course, that went to both sides went to #1, which is pretty interesting that, they had, so basically it was a 2A side, not an A-B side, 45. One of the memorable performances of Hound Dog for Elvis was on the Steve Allen show, where they had Elvis singing to a basset hound. And he was
Oh, Basset Hound.
Yep, he was in his tux and tails, and the fans hated it.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted the real Elvis back. So, you know, but it was interesting. People still talk about it.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing about Hound Dog that I learned last week when I was at Sun Records, there was an individual that that sang for Sun Records. His name was Rufus Thomas. Back in the 50s, they had a lot of these things they're called like answer songs.
Yeah.
Somebody would write a song, then somebody else would sing another song, which was pretty much an answer to that song. And kind of an example of that would be like Elvis singing, "Wear My Ring Around Your Neck," and then another song is "She Wears My Ring." So what this individual did, he created an answer song for Hound Dog, and it was called Bearcat. And it had the same exact arrangement, but basically Hound Dog was putting down the male in a relationship, and
Yeah.
Bearcat was a male's interpretation putting down the woman in the relationship. So it became a big hit, but Sam Phillips and Sun Records got sued for copyright infringement. So he was in debt up to his ears with these lawsuits. So some of the money that Sam actually got, because he got $35,000 for selling Elvis. So some of that money that he got went to pay off the lawsuits for Rufus Thomas's version of Bearcat.
Wow.
Pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
So
I'm more shocked at the fact that Elvis got bought for $35,000, man. That's where wow. Okay.
Yeah. At that time, it was the most ever paid for an artist, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's money well spent.
Yeah. More power to RCA, man. That's
Yes.
all right. Yeah. This one for me, I don't know, was kind of like this version in the concert for me was kind of like Elvis on Cruise Control. He's probably done the song hundreds of times. Okay. So when you listen to the version that's on this particular concert, you can hear the band giving 100%. The band sounds fantastic. I mean, there's even one part at the end of the song where the band, bass player and the drummer get to show off a little bit, and that part is great. But Elvis, for the most part, he just kind of stays at the same monotone range straight through the song. It's just like he's just kind of cruising through it. He shifted in the cruise, and he just kind of went straight through. So
yeah,
and I guess I could see a lot of artists getting like that. They do their hit songs over and over and over, and they just kind of want to get through them. So, and that's kind of the impression I got with this one. I was like, okay, let's get on to the next one. He didn't give it enough. He didn't give it the attention that he gave songs like "It's Midnight" or "I'm Leaving," or "Good Time Charlie." So,
I agree.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear a good version of Hound Dog, buy the record.
Yeah, buy the record, buy the original. Yeah.
Yes.
But I can't help.
Okay, so the last show of the night, Can't Help Falling in Love.
Yep.
Elvis actually recorded the song on March 13th, 1961, and it was released on October 1st, 1961 on the Blue Hawaii soundtrack. Elvis pretty much ended majority of his concerts with this song, and that was another opportunity for Elvis to pretty much just say goodbye to the fans. He, shake hands, hand out scarves, gives kisses. But the thing about it, if you're in the crowd, you hear that song, the concert's over.
Yeah.
There's no encores. You better enjoy Elvis while you got him for the next like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. And the bad thing about it for this version, the tape was cut off. So we really didn't get to hear the entire version of the song, but I'm sure it was good.
Yeah.
He usually did a really good rendition of the song during his concert, probably because he knew it was the last song of the night. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's kind of hard to judge because, like Ned said, if you listen to this concert, you only get a snippet, maybe like a minute and 20 seconds of it, and then it's just it abruptly ends. So you could tell he was kind of going off with this song. And I mean, for what it's worth, the little bit that I heard was okay, but it's hard to judge not hearing the entire song.
So in conclusion, I believe this concert was great. The performances of the relatively unknown songs, were incredible. The renditions of his popular songs were okay. But I think overall, this was a great concert. Now, I really wish I would have been at this concert because it was a once in a lifetime opportunity to hear all these great songs at one time. When Elvis came up with a set list, I believe that he wanted to show that he had more in his arsenal than the standard Vegas set list. And when he came out to do this show, he wanted to show the crowd that. And I believe he did that. I believe he could look back now and say, you know, I really did a great job that night. You know, as the years went on, he wasn't able to say that at many times. He didn't give his all. But this one, I believe every song was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think, Bill?
Yeah. I'm really glad this was the Elvis concert that you introduced me to. If you're a fan of an artist, you don't necessarily, you don't want to get stuck seeing all just the greatest hits. You want to be challenged a little bit. You want to see some of the stuff that's not performed as much. So when I first saw the set list, you know, I was a little hesitant. You know, I was only familiar with about half the songs, but I mean, I could see why this is an important concert for Elvis fans, because this was a concert that he literally handpicked all the songs, and you could tell that he was emotionally involved in this concert, and it was fantastic, and it really shows. So, I mean, to someone else who's a novice who doesn't have that much knowledge about Elvis itself, I mean, I could enthusiastically recommend this concert. You know, I enjoyed this a lot.
Great. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to be adding a link to this video in the description or comments.
So you can watch it.
Yes, so you guys can watch the entire concert unedited.
Like we did, you know. Yeah.
And we did. We enjoyed it. So it'll be on my other YouTube channel called Classic Rock Live.
Yeah.
I will be posting it the same time that this video is posted. So once you leave this, look down the description and jump over to the other YouTube channel and enjoy that concert. Feel free to come back to this page and give us some comments on how me and Bill did, and also what you think of the concert.
Yeah.
If you guys have any comments or recommendations of future shows, feel free to reach out. Right now, I probably have about 600 Elvis concerts, ranging from 77 to 69. So odds are I probably have what you want us to play. So feel free to reach out to us, and we will be more than happy to give our review of the concert you want to hear.
Yeah, and in fact, like if you listen to us here all the way through, and you have disagreements with us, you know, like say you listen to the concert and then you go, hey, you know, my favorite song was Hound Dog. You know, my favorite song was, you know, Love Me Tender. You know, let us know in the comments. You know, and let us know, but more importantly, let us know why. You know, we want to we encourage a dialogue. We actually do.
Right. I agree.